Report on social mobility this week showed that young people from deprived backgrounds are still failing to break into the professions. But many critics say politicians need to get their own house in order before telling others to review their work experience arrangements. In Parliament, hundreds of young graduates aspiring to political careers are working for free. Jane Deeth reports.
Chris Gray is one of 450 Westminster interns who put in 18,000 hours of unpaid work every week. He works for 2 MPs, but he can only afford to do it because his parents are helping him pay his rent in London. He's effectively paying to work at Westminster because he wants a job in a political think tank or as a parliamentary aide, and they both demand experience.
I'm lucky enough that my parents can help me out financing this thing, but yes, for the someone who came from a poor background, particularly someone from a poor background who didn't live in London, they just simply couldn't afford to do this. And if you've got to do this to then get into become a researcher or move up the party structure, then it's going to bias the party structure in favour of middle class people who live in London. Obviously, I'd rather get paid. I don't feel exploited, but I suppose I kind of am being exploited, really.
Chris's job was advertised and pays some travel expenses, but many of these valuable internships are only won through tip-offs or family connections. And anecdotally, we've heard of MPs using 6 interns at a time, and of one person who worked unpaid for more than a year.
A politics student who worked here for free for 6 months did some research on the background of interns at Westminster. And she found that 1 in 4 had come from private schools, and the majority, 2/3, were here only with the financial support of their parents.
Martine Martin's study found that 39% of interns had exhausted their savings to fund their work placements. 33% relied on student loans and grants, and 27% had to use overdrafts and credit cards. Daniela Oliveros Elvich moved from Venezuela as a student. She had to give up her degree because she ran out of money. But she got herself a week's work experience in Downing Street after she collared Gordon Brown at a question and answer session in London.
I was brave enough, but that should not be the route for you to get into politics. More young people should get involved, and people from different backgrounds. For somebody from not very privileged background to go and do an internship, or somebody who cannot really afford it, like myself, it's just really difficult. I can't really afford to do an internship with an MP for 3 months without being paid. I need to eat, pay bills.
The trade union Unite, which represents parliamentary workers, says the way Parliament finds interns is unfair and needs to change.
It's not open, it's not advertised, it's not funded. Many of them don't get any learning experience while they're here, and that's what we're concerned about. The European Parliament has a very good model. It has the stage where you can apply for it, you get put up, you get money to help you along the way. Whereas in Parliament, we think that just about half of interns are getting some help towards their travel and their food, and the other half are getting nothing at all.
This week's report by the government's social mobility czar, Alan Milburn, contained a whole chapter on internships, and it said a radical change is needed. Interns should at least be offered loans. The Liberal Democrat MP Evan Harris insists they should be paid. He advertises for junior staff and refuses to call them interns because he pays them around £20,000 a year.
This country is becoming less socially mobile. I think fear of debt for graduates because of the tuition fee system is also putting off people or forcing people from poorer backgrounds who have debt to go into jobs where they can get money quickly rather than necessarily into public service. So you're still having that problem. So that there's unfairness at all levels in society, and I think the Milburn report showed that. And I think neither government or Parliament is doing nearly enough to solve it.
The Liberal Democrat MP Phil Willis has tabled an early day motion backing Unite's call for an interns agreement, similar to an employment contract. He has the support of the Speaker of the House, John Bercow.
Youssou N'Dour is best known in this country for the track 7 Seconds, his duet originally done with Nena